We all know that LinkedIn is a necessary evil when looking for a job. And I don't think that there's another platform out there that gives as visceral a response from the broad population as when I suggest that you need to have a LinkedIn profile. After all, it's virtually a career landing spot for everything that we do in our career, from job search, having an online resume of sorts, and then, of course, everybody's favorite, networking. And despite all the unsavory aspects of LinkedIn, those recruiters that reach out to you with those probably fake jobs that aren't at all related to your career, or of course, the feed, which is littered with people arguing about politics or virtue signaling how great they are, we still know that we need to use it in order to be successful in our careers. You see, no other platform currently offers the breadth of exposure to hiring authorities and the ability to market yourself in a fairly effective way as LinkedIn does. So yes, there is a necessary evil to it, but it doesn't end there, because there's a growing sentiment among job seekers that LinkedIn is becoming more and more greedy, with them being the target of monetization. So in this video, I'm going to break down whether or not LinkedIn is a pay-to-play platform and whether you should play along with it. Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Brian, the founder of A Life After Layoff. I'm a career strategist and a corporate recruiter, and I've made it my mission to demystify how job search and careers work at major corporations. So if this kind of content interests you, then make sure you hit the subscribe button. So LinkedIn and pay-to-play. Now, as you know, I'm a proponent of using LinkedIn in our job search, and I feel it's one of the most valuable tools out there. Of course, we have the job search feature, which is one of the best on the market. Now, admittedly, it doesn't mean a whole lot, but there's also the ability to be discovered by recruiters through careful profile optimization. Because in theory, the recruiter is looking for a certain combination of keywords and experiences, and they're hopefully filtering out everybody else and reaching out to people who are well aligned for their role. Now, of course, it doesn't stop the spammy low quality recruiters from reaching out to you, but nonetheless, you should be getting better targeted outreach if you optimize your profile. And let me tell you, it is a lot easier to get hired when a recruiter is reaching out to you than you being one of 1,000 applications that a recruiter is looking through in their ATS system. But to me, the most valuable aspect of LinkedIn is the ability to potentially skip recruiters altogether through targeted networking, and then also building a personal brand, which most people don't take advantage of. The problem is that LinkedIn also realizes how valuable their tool is, and they've been increasingly putting things behind paywalls. And I wanted to break down somebody's personal experience with this exact thing, because as a career coach and somebody who uses LinkedIn consistently, it's getting very frustrating, and it's starting to appear that LinkedIn is a pay-to-play platform, or at least that's where it's heading. So let's check out her experience and we'll break it down as we go. So this is a post I saw on LinkedIn recently that hits home the idea that maybe LinkedIn is indeed becoming a pay-to-play platform. It says, I recently tried to message a hiring manager here on LinkedIn only to be prompted to reactivate Premium, a service that I'd already been using had used for 6 months, and a premium subscription that never resulted in a job. We'll talk about this in just a second. But it says, when I canceled, they tried to charge my card 3x because causing Bank of America to cancel my card. In that moment, it made me realize something important that other job seekers should understand. LinkedIn really isn't the job search platform anymore. It's a pay-to-play business, a business that earns billions of dollars a year from people desperately trying to get their right eyes on their resume. In fact, over the past 12 months, LinkedIn's premium subscription loans have brought in more than $2 billion. Yeah, the LinkedIn premium subscription is an absolute cash cow for them, and is a service that they're increasingly trying to push. And if you spent any time on LinkedIn, you'll know that everything is locked behind these little paywalls. Now, let's talk about what the premium gets you. Premium gets you the ability to have more open-ended search. If you started playing around in the search field too much, if you started looking for too many different people, too many different hiring managers, you're going to start getting error messages pretty quickly. There's certain things that are locked behind paywalls, and if you do too many searches, you'll start getting a message saying, it looks like you're trying to canvass the population. Would you like to sign up for a business account? Basically, they'll lock you down, and you can only do so many searches in a given period of time. Same thing goes for the recruiter. They have different products. They have the recruiter product, so it's called LinkedIn Recruiter. There's also a recruiter lite for individual recruiting companies, but if you're an enterprise or a big company, they'll try to push you into that. There's also a sales navigator product where they try to push people into that if you're trying to solicit people for direct marketing, which, if you're doing your outreach correctly, essentially that's what you're doing. You're kind of marketing yourself. And so they'll try to push you into that product. But the LinkedIn Premium is for basically the rest of everybody else. So it's almost like in a way they're kind of double dipping, because the LinkedIn Premium service is a service they sell to the individual, whereas these other services are really meant for more enterprise. Now, for the enterprise systems like LinkedIn Recruiter, and I'm assuming the sales component, they charge companies massive amounts of dollars. And I'm talking tens of thousands. I know some of the companies I've worked for is in the hundreds of thousands of dollars per year. I know that there's some companies that are likely paying in the millions of dollars per year to be able to use the LinkedIn Recruiter feature to source candidates on the back end. And it all depends on the number of licenses that they're selling. But they're very, very expensive, and it's a major product for LinkedIn. And of course, they've got other places that they're getting involved. But the premium service is marketed to individuals. And it's to unlock certain key features: the ability to see who's viewed your profile, the ability to see more analytics, the ability to message people directly, the ability to send longer messages when you send a connection request. And a lot of these things are locked behind paywalls. And if you've used LinkedIn and for any period of time to do any kind of growth activities, you probably hit into a paywall pretty quickly. But the premium product, they say, gives you a better result, that it's going to help you find a job. And the fact of the matter is, just having a premium banner does not put you into a different bucket. On the back end of LinkedIn, the recruiter does not search for people who have LinkedIn Premium. Now, I can't guarantee, because I'm not privy to the back end of their systems with how their algorithms work, that if you have a LinkedIn Premium that you're going to pull up higher in our search results, but I suspect that that's not the case. What they're promising with LinkedIn Premium is the ability to unlock more functionality. So you actually have to do things in order to get value out of the LinkedIn Premium service. But what they're doing is they're narrowing it down. They're putting more guardrails in. They're taking away features and slowly moving them behind paywalls. They're basically forcing you into the premium product to have any value on the platform. To me, that's one of the most frustrating aspects of LinkedIn, is stuff that used to be free just a couple short years ago is suddenly being locked behind a paywall, or at least being drastically reduced in functionality. For example, when you would send off a connection request, you used to have the ability to attach a message and do as many as you wanted. Now they limit you to just 5 a month. You could blow through that in just one company or one opportunity. They also limit the number of characters that you can use in those messages. If you don't have premium, then you're throttled to just 200 characters, whereas premium opens it up and I think you get another 100 or so. But those are not long messages, and you can reach the limits pretty quickly, and it basically forces you to be very specific. The other very frustrating thing about this is that LinkedIn, to her point, is not really a job search platform anymore. LinkedIn is more in the business of data. That's what they are. Same thing as Facebook and these other social media platforms. Their biggest business is the data that they collect, and then they market and sell it. Data being, you have data that a company wants, your profile. They want to be able to recruit you. They want to be able to market to you. They have something that you want: job opportunities and data around their company. So LinkedIn collects all this data, and they're very strict about their paywalls. And if you've ever tried to work on a third-party service that interacts with LinkedIn's data, good luck. You're going to be having to pay for a very expensive API to try to filter in and take any of that data and do anything with it. So when she's saying this isn't really a job search platform anymore, she's right. This isn't really a job search platform anymore, and it probably really hasn't been, at least since before Microsoft bought them. I think I noticed the biggest changes when Microsoft acquired LinkedIn a few years back, and suddenly everything is being monetized. Maybe it's lost its way. Maybe it is heading or careening towards some inevitability, and I think probably people would celebrate that. But before we celebrate it, where else are we going to move to replace it, to do these things? Right now, there's not another tool in the market. But it says, she says that it's a pay-to-play business. And in a very real way, it is a pay-to-play business. In order to get ahead and to truly use it to your advantage, to be you have to take some advantage in your job search process. There's just too many other candidates. And if you're not doing things like targeted networking, you're decidedly behind the 8 ball. And you have to think of it as, you might have 1,000 people in line in front of you. And if you've got to wait your turn, they may already find enough people to enter the club by the time 500 people go through, or by the time 100 people go through, or by the time 50 people go through, and you're all the way number 1001. Chances of you getting seen are very, very slim. So you use targeted networking basically to slip the bouncer a card or a little handshake and a wink, and they get you right into the club. Right now, without the premium service, it's very difficult to do that. And they're making it more and more difficult. Each year, they're rolling out new features that are hidden behind these paywalls. And she's obviously saying that it's a huge business for them. I mean, it's $2 billion. You think that Microsoft is going to give up a $2 billion revenue? And LinkedIn has actually been laying people off as well. So clearly, they're looking for more ways to monetize their audience. And she goes on to say that meanwhile, many of us are sold these promises, land a job sooner with premium. And again, there's not any special treatment that the premium subscription gets you in the process. When we're searching for candidates on the back end, you're not showing up in a different bucket. We can't search for people who have premium. In fact, we don't care if you have premium as employers, but they certainly do. And it says get seen by 4 times as many recruiters. Now, this is where it becomes questionable. They don't tell us on the back end how people are showing up. In fact, I would have a problem as a recruiter paying for this LinkedIn recruiter platform, which is very expensive, and then find out that they're throttling potentially really good candidates just because they may not have a premium service. So as far as I'm aware, there is no preferential treatment on the back end, and it's just saying get seen by 4 times as many recruiters. I'm assuming that's because you can reach out to people and you don't have as much restriction. But ultimately, it doesn't lead us to where we need to go. Now, here's the thing. You got to use the premium service the right way, and you really have to be very selective with how you do it. Just simply turning on the premium doesn't suddenly open up a floodgate. You actually have to do the right things and use the right activities and do the right outreach messages to the right people at the right times with the right LinkedIn profile that's optimized in the right way for what they're looking for. I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff that you got to do in order to make sure that that's an actual worthwhile investment. But at the end of the day, this shouldn't be any surprise. They're a big company. Their business is selling data, and unfortunately, you're the data that they're selling. It does appear that LinkedIn is becoming increasingly a pay-to-play platform, and the people who pony up are the ones who are winning. That means that I'm reluctantly recommending that you use LinkedIn Premium, but only during your job search, which is kind of counterintuitive. It's unfortunate because LinkedIn didn't used to be this way, but that's what happens when bigger corporations swallow up smaller corporations and they start to tinker with a winning recipe. Now, if you're somebody that struggles with LinkedIn and doesn't know how to use it effectively, I've actually created a course called Unlocking LinkedIn, which breaks down the platform from a job search perspective in great detail. And I put my recruiter cap on and I show you exactly what recruiters are looking for. And in fact, I take you behind the scenes and walk you through an actual recruitment so you can see every single thing that a recruiter sees and how we approach search. And you can use that to your advantage on the other side of the table. Not only that, I give you tips on how to skip recruiters altogether, leveraging target networking in a way that is not awkward. And it actually takes it even beyond the LinkedIn platform. And I teach you how to network in general. So it's a much deeper program than just LinkedIn. So if you're not sure how to approach this key component of your job search and your career, check out the course Unlocking LinkedIn. Anyway, I hope you found this video to be helpful. Appreciate you watching. We'll see you on the next one.